Kia ora koutou, talofa lava. Greetings, I'm Benjy Swann. 3 years ago, I decided I would have a switch of career as a high school teacher of NCA Level 1 and Health Studies Level 3 Physical Education. It was then that I was required to use videotape to record health issues and scenarios written and presented on camera by my students so that they would self-evaluate and peer-evaluate their use of specific skills on topics. That I thought, yes, we're teaching the 21st century and catering to 21st century students by using technology. I realised then on set that I would have to model how I'd set up an interview, plan my questions, convey my body language and questioning techniques so that I was open to all questions and contribute of the interviewee, make them contribute a little bit more relaxed. These skills solidified each year. I undertook the NCA health program with a new class and I grew more enthusiastic to present an issue, hold an interview and to be in charge of how the interview would play out. Then one day something struck a chord and I needed to do this for myself. So each time I passed by the New Zealand Radio Training School at 450 Queen Street, Auckland, my curiosity grew as to how I could use these skills. So one day last year, I made my way up the school elevator. On my first visit, I was taken on a quick tour of the layout of the radio school by Murden. As I gazed down the corridor with all the digis, I previously realised I needed to update my knowledge of technology right here, right now, and here, right now, is where my journey of technology and knowledge gathering would begin. I signed up with Larry Somerville and had visions of me hosting my own radio show and my own podcast or a TV Q&A show. I'd gone from directing and dreaming to actually taking action. Larry and Murden spoke to an lecturer, Katrina Batten, who was now reading news on John Campbell's Drive Checkpoint show up at Radio New Zealand. So at Checkpoint, it's revolutionary as it's simultaneously broadcast live on radio, online, videotaped and presented, and caters for audiences who like visuals in their news stories so that the audiences were able to check in with the show on YouTube at any time after work, during school or at university. It blew my mind at how it caters to such vast audiences in taste of receiving news. I was able to observe and to converse with John's team of skilled and seasoned journalists prior to each broadcast about the focus and the tone of each show, and some took a humanitarian topic, some political, others just dreadfully sad. Sitting there in the control booth with his producers, sound technicians, Calvin and George, I saw how they use social media for polls on each issue, Twitter, Facebook and Instagram, and how the audience replied, sharing their views daily on important issues. Never had I dreamed or realised that in the 21st century, if you wish to increase and keep an audience, social media sites were the way of the future. Katrina Batten over at Radio New Zealand mentored me in preparation of a story, checking your sources and clarification, practicing the sound with the sound team prior to going live to each newsread, and checking sound clarity as Kim Adams had taught us in the study later in the year. Katrina would meet me daily to question me on what I'd learned on the previous day, give me homework to research, and made me use social media to check updates on stories and bring them back to her. So I began my studies at New Zealand Radio Training School in February of the next month, so full of energy and fired up with all my knowledge and experience of these work experiences. The lecturers on appreciation of the history of radio and iwi, technology, the radio studio panel itself, and journalism studies all made the experience that I'd had at Radio New Zealand reality. Similarly, the project at television show where I'd been an intern had me attending meetings at 1 p.m. each day and ask the panelists for their ideas on their tablets and laptops. They would finalise their stories by discussing important issues of the day, run away, type their news up for the auto cue teleprompter, and then at 4 p.m. we'd all return together for a rehearsal. The lighting and sound checks would take place. My job there was to receive all the program formats for the night by email, get all of it printed out so by hand, put them in folders and sort out hard copies just in case during the show there were IT glitches in the show and they had their folders in front of them. Even my job as the front desk person for the live audiences, the audience would arrive and get their names ticked off by me after they had sent me an email on tablets to confirm their presence for that night of the live show shooting. I was certainly made part of the team at the project, running up Simon Street, dry cleaners to get Paddy Gower's suit as an intern's rite of passage, and they made me do that. At TVNZ, I learned and saw the big, huge backdrops, expansive, overwhelming sets, really showed me that the people could see more of a story in their living rooms. The control room at TVNZ was 4 times as large as News Hub, and some of the teams and journalists sat around the computers all day, so it was when I was shown how to cut up sports news stories at their studio, I realised my studies actually helped me there. So while I was there for sport, a Te Karere news presenter asked me if I'd do a story at Middlemore that day hospital with a Vietnam veteran on mental health issues. So I set up an interview with Te Manawaka, comedian Mike King, and SAS recruit Willie Apiata. I was told on my arrival to be holding my boom and making the interview with Te Manawaka calm and at ease was the essence of the full story. I used my level 1 teacher's health te reo language to convey questions to him so that both English-speaking and Māori viewers were clear in my direction of questioning. My guide, Freddie the cameraman, allowed me to position myself where I was not intruding or imposing on the interviewee. The story was shown that evening on Te Karere News, and I was stoked. It was then that I realised, yes, I love this broadcasting and this whole multimedia experience. It's not just teaching a lesson in the classroom, it's teaching a lesson to a nation about itself daily through television, radio, Instagram, and even Snapchat. After my internship at News Hub, I was gobsmacked at the number of shows that are produced there at 3 Flower Street, Eden Terrace. At 5 a.m. that start, 4 a.m. show, I learned how important the sound, the music, the lighting and the angles of the camera all work in harmony. Otherwise, the show quality is less than perfect. I learned everyone in the team has an important role putting on a live show together. I was shown a huge green screen behind the Prime TV news desk upstairs, and I read for Radio Live in the next floor up there, and the producer there wants me to send in my video of presenting on YouTube and auto-cues to him after my quick ad-libbed news read, as they need news presenters over summer. So over the summer break, I could be doing some fill-in reading of news reads for Radio Live. Excited much. Thanks for joining me on my journey to technology and radio and all social media use. Benjy Swann.